Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Grueling Truth Sports Network. And today we're going to welcome James G Commerford, the founder and CEO of Replenishing Care and Technologies, to our show. James has been a frequent guest of ours in the past, talking about the cellular health technologies his company offers to help athletes of all levels train, perform, heal, and recover better. Today we're going to discuss one of my favorite of those technologies, high-powered pulsed electromagnetic field, or PEMF therapy, which I've used myself as well as seen great results with both of my sons. So, James, welcome back to the Grueling Truth.
Well, hi, Mike. It's great to be here. And I know this is a hockey-related broadcast, so I'm sitting in front of my Jacques Plante shrine with my old mask that I used to wear a long time ago that saw a whole lot of pucks go by it, I'd hate to admit. But you're probably the only guy in North America didn't score on me because you weren't born then. But anyhow, long story short, hockey's been a big part of my life for a long time. And as we chat a little bit further, I'm very blessed these days to get to work with some current NHL and current NFL players. So I'm getting to live vicariously if I never got to live the dream myself. So that's my lead in to today, and it's just simply great to be here. Good to see you again.
All right, James. So tell us a little bit about the PEMF.
The simplest explanation for it, Mike, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy works like a battery charger for cells. And it's a really simple way of looking at it. But if you start to think of the value of that, our bodies basically have about 37.2 trillion cells. And each one of those requires a certain electrical charge to perform that the way that they're supposed to do. And more importantly, to heal and repair. And over time, just by living, whether it's, the things we do on a day-to-day basis, it could be exercise, could be work, just, basically aging, the cells can start to lose that electrical charge. And PEMF essentially delivers an energy into the body that helps the cells that need it regain the energy they need to perform, heal, and repair at their best. So that's about as simple as I can make it, but that has a whole lot of very significant meaning to it.
All right, so what actually happens when someone uses the PEMF machine?
Well, what is actually happening as part of that simple battery charger analogy is that it's creating a powerful set of improvements in biological processes. And basically what we've done, we've been doing this for a long time, and from the shows we've done previously, we have. So what we've actually done is created a set of protocols that guide the way that the energy gets delivered on a whole body basis. So we work from head to toe, basically, and we've got things set aside specifically for joints and different types of tears or whatever an athlete might be working with. But what's really important to know in this, and people always sort of wonder, well, what's it going to do for me? The most important thing you can think of with PEMF is that as the energy is drawn into the body, it is only drawn to cells that are undercharged electrically. And when those cells interact with the energy, they literally constrict or squeeze together, force the toxins out and draw the energy in. And any cell that's fully charged simply lets the energy go by. So what will actually happen is if you're feeling this or using it, and you start to feel twitching in the body and all those kind of good things. But that's a sign of the body or the cells saying, hey, I need this, come over here and help me out, basically. And so it's very simple, it's very gentle, it's very controlled by the user because you're literally in charge of how it gets set. But at the same time, it's very effective. And, I call this thing the sharpest tool in the shed, because I've been at this for 15 plus years. And, in my experience, and I've looked at a lot of things, it is simply the best of the best.
Yeah, and I know from my own experience, this is something you don't have to do for 2 or 3 weeks to really feel an immediate impact. It's something that feels really good. It works very quickly. But can you describe that to us a little bit?
Well, the great thing about it is, and, I'll go back to a point I made, is, when you get a treatment with this, you can expect it to work very quickly. Statistically, 95% of people report less pain, increased range of motion, more energy, and a greater sense of well-being after using it once. And I'll stipulate, we have high-powered devices and low-powered devices. I'm talking the ones that you've used have been high-powered. But basically what happens with that is that as the energy is drawn into the body, it works very quickly for most people. And again, it's delivered very gently. And the way that we actually train people to use it, the user is actually in control of how powerful the energy delivered is. And we usually get people to think of it as kind of, if you're getting a massage, there's a sweet spot where it's just the right amount and feels great. And you don't want to go above it. You don't want to be below it. So we're able to kind of guide people to be able to use the machine in that way. So, for most folks, it's a very pleasant experience. A little bit, in the beginning, getting used to it. But most people, especially athletes and folks who are fairly in tune with their body, figure this out very quickly.
All right. So that leads me into who uses it and why.
Well, we work with a lot of elite athletes. And I mean, what that actually enables athletes to do is to train harder, perform better, recover faster, and elevate their play. I mean, it's pretty much that set of things. Non-elite athletes, and I'll put myself in that category, they tend to get fitter. And I mean, I'll do a sidebar. I'm 64 years old with a resting heart rate of 50, and I was in a wheelchair at 40. So when you do the math on that, that's pretty long odds for me to be where I am. And the biggest thing that has helped me get here has been high-powered PEMF. So to sort of add on to that, I can also describe myself as a survivor of a serious illness. I had Guillain-Barré at 40, which is what put me in the wheelchair. And my first exposure to PEMF was many years after getting out of the hospital. But when I actually felt the energy go into my legs, which had been most affected by the Guillain-Barré, as I watched the cells that need it constrict and force toxins out, it was like watching a fish on dry land. And what's so beautiful about PEMF is it adapts to the individual and helps their cell figure out or fix whatever needs to be fixed. So it works, basically as universally as anything can. So anybody who's injured typically will see accelerated recovery, but also a safe accelerated recovery. I mean, I did a video 9 days after hernia surgery at 60 doing oblique sit-ups. So, I mean, it can really accelerate. And we don't push the envelope with folks, but if you're ill or injured, this is a great potential contributor to accelerating that and getting better results than you're used to. And essentially, aging and loss of performance tend to be reversed or slowed with this. So, again, that's pretty much elite athletes to non-elite athletes to folks who are trying to be at their best and to those who might, be dealing with a condition and trying to get on the other side of it so they can live life to the fullest, as we like to say.
All right, now let's go back to the elite athletes. You're currently working with some, I think?
Yeah, we're working with athletes off 7 different NHL teams, many of which, we obviously operate from a privacy standpoint, so we don't say who they are. But it's been a real privilege to work with a number of, the players who are playing currently. We're also working with a couple of NFL players. Again, we don't say who they are, and a Power 5 college. I mean, in addition to that, we work with a whole lot of folks who aren't elite athletes. But I mean, on the athlete side, we're working with players who have been, at the All-Star or Pro Bowl level. Some have been up around the MVP type discussion and have used this to stay at that level or, have one of the best years they've had in their careers. So, from an athlete standpoint, if there's an elite athlete watching this and you're looking for something that you can use to train better, recover faster, do it safely with being guided how to do it, it's a really good option to consider.
All right. So I assume, James, that's why you call this the sharpest tool in the shed.
100%. I mean, Mike, to go back to my own history, I got started in this 15 years ago on what was a project to create the clinic of the future. And I now call that a replenishing care center that's all about reestablishing and maintaining cellular health. And so what we've put together is a set of technologies, and I say it's 11 plus because we're continuously looking for better things. But each one of those technologies either gives cells back the power, oxygen, or other resources to perform, heal, and repair, or it helps the body return to musculoskeletal balance or homeostasis. And in our experience, PEMF is the best of those because of what it does to actually give cells back the power they need to do what they need to do, But PEMF also brings out the best in other methods and also amplifies things like healthy lifestyle or exercise or, basically taking care of yourself. So it's kind of like win-win-win. And so we do describe it as the sharpest tool in the shed, because if you could only do one thing, this is the one we'd suggest you do first and foremost.
All right. Now, which machine do you recommend and where would people go to learn more?
Okay, well, we work with a company out of California called PEMF Systems, Inc., and we've worked with them for 10 plus years. Everybody has their own, there's different companies doing this, but I regard them as the best of the best. And in fact, one of the big announcements that's just happened is they have gotten Health Canada approval as a medical grade device, which is a big accomplishment in this particular industry. So within that, we have created our own brand, if you will, and we call it RC Max, or the RC Max series, where RC stands for Replenishing Care, going back to that model that we talked about, where it's all about replenishing the body. So the main site that we have for the PEMF devices we offer is www.replenishingtechnologies.com. So that's our PEMF site. But there's an umbrella site that we spoke a lot about last year when we were doing the shows that we call Replenishing Care and Technologies, and that's rcandt.com. So if you go on either one of those, you're going to get either the focused presentation on PEMF, which is what we've talked about today, or if you go on the rcandt.com site, you'll see sort of the bigger picture on that. And we talk not only about PEMF there, but we talk about integration with some of the other technologies. And we even have a one-stop, what we call Replenishing Care one-stop cellular regeneration system that you can buy to put in a team training facility. You can put it in a professional clinic. You can put it in a corporate wellness center, or I'm actually sitting in the template version of it. So it's something that somebody can have at home for personal or family use, and that's what a lot of elite athletes are doing. And basically, the whole idea behind that is that it's not a gym; it's something that will sit in a gym, but actually is a number of cellular health technologies that help your body truly recover in the middle of training or after a hard workout. Or I'll get NHL players texting me after a hard game where somebody got injured, and how you can actually address that. So, it's a very simple thing for people to fit into their lives, and it's designed to be that way. But anyway, I downloaded a little more than I planned to. It tends to happen when I talk about this. But anyway, those are our two sites, replenishingtechnologies.com and rcandt.com. And if you go on either one of those, you'll get a lot of information. You'll get a contact form. And if you decide to reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you.
All right. So what's on tap for next week, James?
Well, I think next week we might try and set up to do a demo where we can actually show the machine a little bit, or we might talk about some specific cases we've seen. Because people always say, well, that's real nice and that, and it was great to hear about my Guillain-Barré or my hernia, but that's me. They might be people tend to be far more interested in other stories. And I mean, your story about your son, for example, the quarterback who had the great recovery, and some other athletes, we might just, talk about that a little bit, so people might find, a nice way to relate to their own needs or goals, that type of thing.
All right, James, once again, give everybody the website where they can find you. If you have a Twitter, give that out, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, well, again, replenishingtechnologies.com is the website for PEMF. rcandt.com is the website for the umbrella personal best performance and personal best fitness model that we've put together. My Twitter is at RepCareandTech. But people can reach me through that. And on Facebook, it's also, it's either James G Commerford or Replenishing Care and Technology. So we're there, and we're actually going to start pushing this a whole lot more, because that's the world we're in, and we're already in it until obviously what the events of the world have taken place. So we're going to start doing a whole lot more of this, and it's great to be here with you, Mike, getting an opportunity to chat with you and hopefully share this with the folks who make up your audience.
And as always, James, it was great to have you on. I want to remind everyone, are we going to come back same day, same time next week?
Yeah, if that works for you, let's make that a thing, and we'll go forward from there.
All right, so you can hear myself and James next Wednesday. We'll give you hopefully a little feel of what the machine's like, how it works, and a few stories of people it has helped. And like I said, on my side, with both of my sons, they both had tremendous recovery time. And my older son was a quarterback with a torn wrist. We'll talk about that next week, who didn't even have to have surgery because of this machine. And the PEMF machine, I can't swear enough by it. It's done great things for all members of my family. So, James, great to have you on again. I want to remind everybody, you can get the podcast form of this probably this weekend on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, over 200 different sites that we're on now. You can hear the NFL show, which is brought to you by the PEMF machine and Replenishing Care and Technologies, every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. So for now, for James G Commerford, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.
Thank you.